You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
Oh, sorry, just dancing. This is Charge Hayner present Zoom the TBT, and this is one of our favorite shows we're going to do tonight. This is our bubble watch, our bubble chit session. And Charge, as we look at the bracket starting to take form, we're only a few days away from rosters locking. And is this the most competitive bracket to get into you've ever seen?
Yeah, no, this easily is the most competitive bracket ever. Obviously, the auto bids kind of feed that with, let's call it 29, 30 teams, as some teams shifted around. Plus, you're going to have your locks, big alumni teams that are new to the TBT that are coming back, the UMasses of the world, showing up big. And then that's really leaving after your buy-ins, maybe 10 or 12 spots that are, I think, viable for the bubble teams, the larger portion of the 108 or 9-ish teams that have applied. So it is the tightest we've ever seen.
Now, what's really interesting, too, is this is a year where a lot of hearts are going to be broken. There's some really competitive quality teams that might be on the outside looking in. We're going to have some teams tonight that normally wouldn't have made bubble watch, would have been much closer to safe. And these teams are all varying degrees of safe and competitive. None of these are no-hopers, obviously, but these are all teams that are fairly close to the bubble line, either close to lock, but they all have some work to do, correct?
Yeah, I think this is going to come right down to the wire as TBT starts to shuffle those last kind of few places. I think what's great about all these teams is they're all very well organized teams, and I think TBT will find them reliable. They're talented, so they'll bring the talent. It's just a matter, I think. What we'll talk about is, is there a narrative there? Is there something that people want to pull in and watch these teams in action on ESPN?
And real quick, since you usually keep a better track on this, and people who listen to our show or watch it know that more, I'm the guy who gets the organization. You're actually the smarter to us. And people know that I'm funnier and better looking, and you're a nicer person and know more. They get the idea. So why don't you explain to our listeners or viewers, what are the criteria TBT tends to look for, to the best of our understanding?
Yeah. So obviously, I think the average viewer is going to go, well, hey, that team looks way better talent-wise, and that is 100% not the case. I think the two things that TBT, especially this year, is looking for more than ever is just, is there an audience? Is there a fan base that follows this team and wants to follow TBT? So you get that built in with a lot of the teams like the alumni teams, which we just talked about, and then from there, what's become more and more, and TBT stressed that throughout this preseason is, are you able to be reliable? And part of that reliability comes through, can you fund yourself? Do you have the funds to support your players, get them to TBT for the number of days, run training camps, so that organization, and then after that you start to get into talent. So talent's probably third on the list, still very important. I think if you get some big name folks and household names, that helps, but the bubble, which we're talking about today, is not the household names. They're really good professional ball players, some overseas, some locally, or some in the G League, but these are not your household names. So you got to figure out a way to stand out and get noticed by TBT and prove that you need to be part of TBT 2023.
And the way we selected these teams is we reached out to teams that we respect and like, but when we started to do our early brackets, realized that they were fairly close to the true seed line of an 8, 6, even an 8 or 9, where they were right on the bubble. These are all teams that really in a normal year would fairly be safe, but it's a fairly stacked year, so there might be some problems. So we reached out to about 20 teams, and about 5 or 6 got back to us and we asked for a video that they would make. Charged, and I haven't really even looked at them in too much detail yet, so we're going to be as surprised as you when we watch them, and also a little bit of what they thought the selling points are to help us guide the discussion. And 5 very sharp teams did get back to us, and we're going to talk about them tonight. So, Charge, we're going to start with Peacock Nation. Are you ready to get into this?
Can't wait. Let's do it.
Okay, a little bit of background on Peacock is they actually played last year at the Rucker, and they were a lot of fun to watch. And this is the video they sent in to talk about why they belong to TBT. And we're going to go TBT. We're going to get right into it right now.
What's up, everybody? Desi Washington here from St. Peter's alumni team, Peacock Nation, and the TBT. Just here telling you a little bit about our team this year. We've got, some key guys coming back from last year that played a significant role for us. And we got a lot of new guys that are going to be big helps for us. We got Sean Armand, elite player overseas, college player as well. Tyler Roberson, Syracuse alumni, great big man for us. Devin Funches, former NFL star, switching over to the basketball court now. So we've got, a good amount of guys from St. Peter's that are pretty good, and then, some guys from outside as well. And we've got one or two really big signings that we're, still working on. But with the team that we have and, those extra two guys that we're bringing, we're going to be very good. And I think a very tough out for anybody in any region. So I think, we deserve another chance because we had a pretty good showing last year. And I think we didn't really get to showcase our full ability. But I mean, honestly, I don't see a better group of guys, a better backcourt than me and Sean Armand. So, I mean, we get another chance, we're going to make a lot of noise.
So obviously they got in last year. They were a tough luck loser in the first round. I was actually there. They played really, really, really well. So Charge, watching that video, what high points they hit on the criteria we're going for here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest point is I think they've drastically upgraded their team, and so when you look at Desi representing the team, he put that team on his shoulders last year, and then now coming out and adding more. I tweeted that I think yesterday or the day before that Sean Armand was over with Peacock Nation. So now you have a brand. Obviously, they were a little more of a household name 2 years ago versus this year, but everybody wants to see the Peacocks. Everybody is familiar with that brand. So if we can get that fan base engaged, but the two things that I wish we knew is Devin Funches, is he really playing? So he is on the roster. He's publicly stated that he wants to pursue a career in basketball. So obviously, professional athlete. It would be great to see him tweeting about the team and getting that social media presence going just a little bit more. And then the one thing we always talk about is Desi has a couple aces up his sleeve, and you're getting right up to the deadline. So TBT, has their big board that's pretty much starts as soon as the prior year TBT ends. They already start slotting people and kind of know what's happening. So if you got aces up your sleeve, you definitely want to get that. And they very well may know who that is already, TBT wise. But the sooner you can get that out there, make it public, get some buzz around your team, the better off you're going to be. But Desi was amazing last year, and I think they've added the right pieces, and I think they're in good shape. I think firmly on the bubble. I don't think it's a lock or leaning in. I think it's firmly on the bubble, but I really like what they've done so far to put themselves in a good spot.
So let's hit the high points. We're talking about this team, talking about Peacock Nation. First of all, I was there. I got the honor of going to the record. The record was electric. And they only lost by a little bit to a team that actually, by 1 point, to the team that made the final in Autism Army, now the Program for Autism. Really great team. They had a great run last year. So losing by 1 point to a team that literally got to the final game is a selling point. 1. 2, there is still some leftover buzz from an incredible run that they had a couple years in NCAAs. I'm not sure how much buzz left. There's still some there, so there's a little bit of juice left to squeeze there. One thing to talk about, too, is also they have a decent representation within the alums. Obviously, Armand's a great ad. Funches being an NFL guy, that's a huge buzz thing. It's a great hook to have another professional athlete trying to switch sports. It's a big deal. And then Roberson from Cuse is a really good player. But they actually still have a good alumni percentage. Like, they actually have a decent number of St. Peter's actual players. So reliability, they showed up in a city that a lot of people didn't want to play at Rucker. They showed up well. They've competitive. They have buzz. I can't call them a lock only because the Syracuse region is so good. But I'm with you. I think they're on the safer side of the bubble. And it would kind of almost surprise me if they didn't make it. Charge, on a percentage of safety, what are we thinking? 65, 70% safe?
Yeah, I think that's 60-40. The one thing that's really critical to bubble teams is that you're willing to travel. And so right now they're slotted into Syracuse. We saw a mass exodus of bubble teams leave Syracuse yesterday. And just by his comments, sounded like they're willing to travel. So, flexibility is key in TBT. But I really do like what they have going on. And yeah, I would say 60-40. So not too far after where you are there. I wish the the buzz was a little higher, from the fan base and the university, kind of post 2 years ago. But I think they have enough to go.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think they're pretty safe. I will say this team I don't see moving because the reality is I think they're better closer to where we are in New York. I mean, they are, basically a New York, New Jersey team. So I think Syracuse is the closest region, and they don't have a huge fan base, so the traveling's not a big deal. But I don't see any reason to make them move because there's teams in the regions that, because their fan base is more national, might be more natural to move. So I think they'll end up Syracuse, and I think they'll probably going to get in. I think it's going to be tight, though. But we're going to have our bracketology in a couple days, so we'll figure out the exact nitty-gritty. Let's call them safe-ish, and let's move on.
The wild card is the buy-in team. So Indy Horizon was slated for Syracuse. They were a buy-in. They moved down to Dayton. So, we don't know all the buy-in teams right now. We have a good feel on 4 to 5 of them, heard a couple, but haven't been able to confirm. But if there's no buy-in there, I think they're really close. Those odds go up incredibly higher to stay in Syracuse if there's no buy-in team. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah. And we know a little more we let on the show, so we don't want to piss off our sources. There's a few things we kind of hide because we have a better idea than we're not as dumb as we look some days.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
Not as dumb as I look. Okay, so we're going to get into a team. Now, this is the only truly new team, and it's the NAWF, which I hope I am not mispronouncing. We're going to let them tell them in their own words why they're going to just be allowed in a team from Gwinnett County. Some real interesting reasons to like them. They're applying to love it. George, you're pretty excited about this team, right?
Yeah, no, I'm very high on. There's probably about 4 or 5 kind of first year teams that are coming in that I'm very high on, and the NAWF is one of them. And like you said, maybe we're pronouncing it wrong, but let's just go with it.
Okay, so let's let them tell us in their own words why they should be allowed in TBT.
For a long time, the guys from Gwinnett County and our surrounding area always felt like, we don't get the same type of love like the kids from New York, the kids from Miami, the kids from LA, the kids from Dallas, and things like that. And for us to have a chance to play in TBT and for us to get invited to put a team in, we couldn't pass that opportunity up. And, no disrespect to no other teams. Yeah, you guys are all alumni from the same college. Most other teams, y'all gather guys from all around, surrounding areas, you know what I'm saying, all around the United States. But all my guys, we're localized from one county where we all grew up in, all the way from our coaching staff, from Coach Pierce, Aaron Robinson, and Wesley Witherspoon, down to our players, DeMarcus Simons, Alfonso Willis, Amin Stevens, Kedar Davis, Al Durham, and then now we just went and picked up Andrew Goudlock. So to have all that talent in one area from high school is unmatched. And we know nothing's going to be given to us. And we're not here to even demand anything is given to us. We're going to earn our respect this summer. This bubble team is going to show why we deserve to be in TBT.
All right, Charge. I mean, when you come out with this is the only truly new team we have this year. When you're looking at the NAWF, the main argument is the quality of the players, correct?
Yeah, I think, but I think the quality of the players there. So I think it's that they're not recognizable is going to be the only knock on their player because he talked about North Atlanta, Gwinnett County. I mean, they're surrounded by winners. You got guys like Brandon Goodwin, NBA player recovering from a injury, associated with the team. You got guys like Wesley Witherspoon. Their coaching staff could probably go out there and take care of business on the TBT court. So I mean, they're surrounded by winners, and these guys are just hungry. I mean, it's hopefully that comes through to TBT. I don't know if there's any hungrier team this year than the NAWF. So they're putting out there great quality video, got some players video. But I mean, when you look at Goudlock, you got Simons, those two guys I think are going to be shining stars for them. But then you start to look into Al Durham played last year for B1 Ballers. He scored 17 points, shot 50% from 3. So these guys aren't foreign to TBT. I mean, Stevens, you heard him mentioned, he's averaged a double-double back in 2018, I think it was. And so there's just so much talent on here. But the thing that separates a team like this is kind of like your Primetime Players team where we'll talk about also on the bubble that you do not want to play these guys. They're going to come in there and they're going to come out ready to fight and, put it on you. So I really hope they get to look. I feel good about Lubbock for those guys. So they're currently in Lubbock. There's, I think 4 locks in Lubbock. There's a buy-in. So there's only 3 spots remaining. I think In the Lab gets in because there's social media, and there's no way you can tell me right now in Lubbock there's 2 teams better than the NAWF. So I feel really good about them, and I know you feel good about them just for the Memphis guys too.
So, yeah, I mean, Spoon actually played in this event. He played for the Memphis team. That actually, the first time I went to TBT as a media member, I covered this for a Memphis media publication for the first time, like 5 years ago, and they played in Richmond. Spoon was one of the players on that team, actually. I mean, he could probably still get on the court and be effective because he's a 6'9", Swiss Army knife of a player. He played point guard or power forward, but obviously his playing days are kind of behind him. I remember Kareem Burton being one of the few guys on those Tubby Smith teams, which we won't really talk about because those pissed me off, but not because of players. Kareem Burton was an absolute bucket. So I'm not shocked that he can be a force in this team. So a couple of Memphis guys always wins me a little bit of love, obviously. I think this video missed a complete opportunity not to have some Outcast playing personally. That's, I mean, if we can get Big Boy or Andre 3000 in here, that would obviously help their buzz. Atlanta's a big basketball hotbed. I think the South generally, we need another region of the South. People who listen to this know I'm from Tennessee. I've lived in New York for 20 years, but I'm still a Southerner by heart. So the idea that there isn't really Southern regionals always makes it weird to me. We have like Auburn teams, we have Florida teams, we have all these Southern teams, and they haven't had a lot of Southern regions, which just kind of befuddles me. I mean, Lubbock's in Texas, doesn't really count. It's the hook. The hook's the problem here. Like the only reason they're not going to get it, it's not going to be quality players. They're clearly organized. They have TBT veterans, so guys have played with them. They know what's going on. It's can the hook be overcome? Because it's going to be a team that's going to be hard to market. It's a team that's going to be hard to sell to casuals. This is not going to be a social media team or a team they can really sell. So they're going to have to get on the quality of their basketball. And I'm not sure that helps them because you would think TBT doesn't want to get a team in here as good as this that can ruin one of their narratives. So that might work against them. That might be too good to get in with a no name, no hook. Like we can't let these guys beat a narrative team. That will suck for the box office. So they're too good.
That could be the case. I mean, yeah, we need something from Atlanta because some of the old school teams like Atlanta Dirty South, they used to come out here and put a whooping on some people and play some good ball. Yeah. So and Georgia Kings has fought their way in twice from the Beasley, and so you got people who just play hard.
Yeah.
And so I hope they get in. Like I said, it's a couple days away from roster lock, but it'd be great to see a little more. From Brandon Goodwin, Goodalock, trying to get some fan buzz and some excitement around the team because I think the GMs, the boosters on that have done a pretty good job of that. So if they can get any extra juice down the home stretch, that won't hurt at all.
I mean, this is the case study which TBT talk about every year: quality of basketball versus a hooker narrative. And the basketball's here. It's not a problem with the hoops. That's the basketball team is there. That's it. Can they sell the narrative? Charge, what are you thinking odds-wise? I'm a little pessimistic, but I'm hoping. What are you thinking odds-wise?
I think I'm
spitball. Don't overthink it.
Yeah, I think 50-50 still. I just don't know what's going to happen in Lubbock. As Lubbock sits right now, I think they would be in Lubbock today. But we talked about this on, almost every one of our show. There's going to be shifting. There's people going to be moving around, and we don't know what that future looks like. But I think it's still right on the bubble, solid 50-50. I think they should be in. But, we made the points, and who knows, they may drop into the last pick with the fan selection committee, and who knows.
Yeah.
We may know some people on there that can sway the voters and get these guys in.
One of us is still on there. Whatever. It's still irritating. They need to put, if you're listening to me, I need to be back on the committee. I get one spam filter knock me off. It's bullshit, I tell you.
Reapply.
Reapply. Put me back in. No, I think it's less than 50-50, honestly. I think I'm putting them in, but I think because of the narrative, I think it's closer to 40-60 against. And don't kill me, guys. I want to be wrong. I'm actually rooting for you guys to get in. So there'll be something we discussed during bracketology, but I'd love to see them in. This is obviously a quality team. So we'll see. I mean, I think they deserve to get in, but spots are spots. We'll see. Okay, so Charge, where are we going next?
I think we're headed over to the crew. The guys from
Valpo.
Valpo. Yeah.
So,
let me just go with Valpo.
What do you think, Valpo? What do you think? Now, what do you think when you go? Well, you just say Valpo. I don't say the whole word. So, what do you think when you think that college? It's obviously the shot, right?
Well, apparently now it is after you educating me last year. I don't remember the dude's name who made the shot, but yeah, you made me feel great shame for not knowing about the shot.
That's true.
And well, what was it, like a round of 16 game or something? I don't even know. What was it?
Okay, I'm going to play the video and then chat you so you don't sound stupid after the video. So this is the crew. Explain to us why the Valpo alums should get in.
We did the shot last year. I'm good, but it wasn't memorable enough for me.
Video. Wasn't you talk less? Okay, the crew coming up. Explain why they should get in and why neophytes like Charge in college basketball should admire.
What's up, Zoom the TBT? I appreciate you guys giving us an opportunity to make our case. I know I have 90 seconds, so I'll try to go quick. My name is Jason Karras. I'm the GM of the crew. We are a second-year team entering TBT, possibly on the bubble. So we're trying to make our case to get in right now. Let me go through these criteria that you guys have sent me. Reliability. Last year, we were in the Omaha region. We were given an 8 seed against a 1 seed, a team that had the returning TBT MVP and Tyrese Rice. We got 10 guys on our roster signed up. Each one of them showed up on time when we needed to be, and we were up in multiple points of that game. First half, second half, we had a 10-point lead at one point, and we ended up losing by 10 at the end. All right, fan base. We have an incredible fan base, one of the best in mid-major basketball from Valparaiso University ever since 1996 when Bryce Drew hit that shot to send the team to the Sweet 16. Our town has ridden with us, and that's how it's always going to be. Roster, one of the best rosters in this tournament. Brandon Wood, 3-point championship last year. Jabril Adekoya is joining us this year, another Valpo alumni who has been great. He won the BBL championships with the Leicester Riders last year. We have plenty of talent to come win this thing. And I also will add, I'm stepping down as head coach, bringing in an extremely talented head coach in Daryl Jackson, who's coached under Phil Handy, Mike Davis, Bryce Drew. All right. And he's going to put our guys in positions to make an incredible run this year. Regional flexibility, we'll go anywhere. We've agreed to drive 10 hours to Wichita, but there have only been 15 teams out of 16 slots to apply to the Wichita Regional. So I don't see why we shouldn't get in. Don't move another team from another region into there. We deserve it. Anything else? No, that's it. TBT, do the right thing.
Yeah, the Bryce Drew shot. It's one of the most iconic shots. How do you not know this? It's just crazy to know this. Okay, so man who doesn't understand college basketball, what do you think of that video? Why should the crew get in?
Yeah, I mean, I think this team is good. I think this, unfortunately, is one of those cases, almost like Peacock Nation. I mean, you can almost rubber stamp it that it's a small alumni team. The small alumni teams, the bubble teams always get the number 1 seed. So he mentioned playing the Gutter Cat gangs, and it's just so tough to get that momentum going. So if you don't come out and sneak out that win and start getting the auto bids, then you're fighting the bubble every single year. But Brandon Wood was fantastic last year, and he's been playing quite a while. So love what he's doing. As far as the coaching goes, passing the torch to someone who's got more quality, more experience, definitely could help. So I think definitely upgrade there. But I think this is almost a rubber stamp of Peacock Nation. Just got to find the right spot, the right fit. Like I said, Wichita right now doesn't have a lot of people applied to it, and I think if we were wrapping this up today, they would get in as well.
You see on while we do my case, you can see on the tracker. If you read that, it'll help you out, Charge. Like it says what his name is, so it actually calls you out in the tracker.
Oh, okay.
That's his name.
Yeah,
you can remember for next time. I'll leave that up for you. Okay. So I think they're a really quality team, honestly. And their willingness to move to Wichita is big. So we've been talking this whole time about how Wichita is lacking in teams, and not because it's not a place people want to go, because it's a double region. They made it a 16-team region like it used to be. So the teams were having to be kind of cajoled or see an opportunity there. Remember Gale Nation? That's why this keeps worrying me. So all these little schools who have regional fan bases, which are incredibly passionate. Valpo fans are amazing, but they're not a big fan base. And I do wonder if this is sort of outgrowing some of the small fan bases. Like when this started, when TBT, and we're in year 10 now, when TBT was starting out, the Gale Nations of the world were their bread and butter. And then at some point, these smaller schools are getting pushed a little bit more. Having said that, though, one, they're willing to move. Two, like you said, the guy said, they all showed up, all 10. That's reliability counts. And I think because of what's going on, I think they're fairly safe. Charge, what kind of odds would you put on this?
Yeah, this one I think slightly higher. I would give this one probably 55-45. And because to be honest with you, they've done nothing to lose their opportunity to prove themselves again. So, like I said, you got Gutter Cat Gang, you got beat. I mean, most teams would be saying the same thing this year. And he makes a good point. When you start looking at some of the teams that are currently out there, it's kind of top heavy from some of the alumni schools. But the thing is once we start getting to the bubble, the JUCO products, which we're not featuring on this show, I think is a really good team. 402's Finest looks really good, but that's one of those ones where I don't think you're going to take those over the alumni team, especially with these guys being as well organized as they are and deserving that second chance. So, like I said, I think it's a slight in, but once again, we'll see how many people shift out. We saw that mass exodus yesterday where we are D3 left Syracuse. I can't remember the other two because I'm old, but you're going to start seeing people move there. I see you and Matt talking about. I'm gonna say you guys are talking about how old you are. You and Matt yesterday, and 44 and 30. Wait till you get to your 50s. It doesn't. The brain slows down a little bit. That's why
Charge.
Spreadsheets. Yeah, 1 foot in the grave. But these guys should be in. And I would. Let me put this out to you. Would you take mental toughness again, or would you take the crew?
I would take the crew, and not just for the mental toughness. But again, this is what we talk about.
But these are the toughest decisions TBT has to make. Yeah,
I understand, and the thing is like it's a business, and it's there to engender fan bases. So, like for example, and that's why the NAWF is like a great team. But I'm hoping to get it because I think it's fair to say the tie always goes the alumni team. I mean, literally always goes. If you have two teams that are even, you take the team with the built-in fan base. I don't think anybody thinks that's even unfair. So the thing is like the crew have a quality team. Wood's really good. But having said that, like they're a smaller fan base, but they are a fan base. They have a set fan base. People will tune in to ESPN to watch these games. So that does help a little. I mean, I think, and they have a quality team to organize. So I think it's 50. I this way, as of today, I would put it closer to 65. But as we know, that's today, and we're right in crunch time where the brackets are starting to move. We're 2 weeks away from the brackets being released. So the reality is like today is 60-40 in my book. Tomorrow, who knows? So they're right on the cut line, but I think they get in probably at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think they get in. All right, Charger, we're going next. So I think we're talking about an old friend now.
Primetime. These guys are legends of the TBT.
So before we get into the details about Primetime, what is like their deal? I mean, like, let's talk about what Primetime actually is about. Like, when you say here Primetime, what do you think about?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are, very similar to what we talked about NAWF, but these guys have been organized, and I should have, if you're going to ask me that question, prepared. But they've been, I think, lost 4 or 5 games in like the prepared. Yeah, that's we gave up on that a couple years back, so you got to just work with us. No. But I mean, they're in the ECBL down there, the Carolinas, Southeast. I mean, they just absolutely dominated this league year after year after year, championship after championship. Chris is fantastic leader, coach of that team, has bent over backwards. But yeah, it's let's call it a minor league basketball team. And so these guys play year round. They play whatever number of games are in their league. Let's call it 20, 30 for all I know. And so they're cohesive. They know how to play together. There's no egos. There's no not knowing who's going to, be handling the ball or who's in the rotation, who's not. And so these guys just come ready to play, and they proved it year after year to TBT.
Okay, so let's let them make that case in their own words. Chris Thomas of the Primetime Players presenting his case on why the Primetime Players deserve to be in 2023's.
Hi, this goes out to the TBT selection committee for 2023. I'm Chris Thomas. I'm the general manager for the Primetime Players. We're hopeful we can get in again this year. I mean, we've got a great history in TBT, including, being named the all-time greatest Elam ending comeback that we did against Always the Brave up in Columbus in 2018. We've made 2 runs to the Super 16. We've got a roster that comes to play every single year. We've played if we play this year, that'd be 8 out of the 10 years that we've been able to play in it. And I don't know how many other teams have played collectively as a group, the same team together to play in that. And I know that at any given day, we can beat any single team out there. We've got a great roster with the same guys that we've had before with Barnett and Chris Moore. We got a couple new guys with Curitan. And then we also got Cornelius Reynolds, which is a superstar. And then we added LaRon Denby, which is one of the top 25 players in the history of South Carolina. And we're looking to definitely make a name for ourselves, come back out there, make another run, and not just go to the Super 16, but try to get over that hump and try to win the TBT this year.
So, I mean, the thing about TBT is they have gotten a collection of some characters over time. And the thing about the Primetime Players, and we've talked about this, is we're big fans of Chris Thomas. Chris Thomas is like the godfather of minor league basketball. He's a big organizer in this league. They've gone 155-15 in the last 10 years. It's a mind-boggling stat. And we've been fans of this event almost since the first year. Not quite, but almost this first year. And it's gotten bigger and bigger. So there is a day, sometime probably in the future, the event outgrows the need for a team like the Primetime Players. So the question is, Charge, has that day arrived?
Yeah, I think we're really close to it. The team is fantastic, and the reliability is what they're going to have to hope to play on. But they did miss a year or two there. He said he's played 8 out of 9, so missed 1 year of TBT. But these guys are always on call, always on the backup, and I hope that doesn't work against them. Where every year a team drops out and it's, hey, call Chris, and he'll be there. He'll play anyone anytime. It's just one of those ones where I think locally down there, well-known team. Wichita, probably not very well-known. TBT circle, well-known, but that's something that can be marketed. So this one, I think, and Chris, we talk often enough, gonna hate me, but I think this one's probably slightly less than 50 right now. I'm trying to find a way in form, a narrative form aside. What I'm hoping for is the nostalgia aspect. This is the 10-year anniversary of the TBT. So, I'm hoping some of the guys who have helped them be successful in the past, like the Primetime Players, like Chris, that 2018 comeback was amazing. I saw that one live, and that was a fun game to watch.
You were there?
I was there. Yeah. I think that's the first time I saw a TV.
I was in Richmond 2018 watching Memphis get their asses kicked.
I think that was the first time I went. So I've been following since 2016, and I think that's the first time I saw anything live down there in Columbus. I think it's going to be a tough road. I really do, and so tell me why I'm wrong. Do you got him in right now?
I'll tell you why. I actually do. I got you. I will tell you why you're wrong. Because here's the thing, and I'm going to start with odds of this minute and end with odds on how I think they end out. So I think the odds of them getting in as of today are 15% or less. But let me finish because I'm going to go on a path here. One, there is the narrative of this is year 10 of TBT. We're trying to reward people who have helped create this event. And when you can't tell the story of TBT actually about the Primetime Players, you can't. Are they the major player? No, but they're that role player. They're that Willem Dafoe who comes and chews up a scene. They're here all the time. They will play anyone. They volunteered to play in the bubble as an alternate, and they got to play. And that's something they needed. They have stepped up every time TBT has asked them. So I don't think they're on the board right now. I really don't think if you make a bracket right now, and we do bracketology, we probably won't put them in, actually. I don't think we're going to, probably. But I'll tell you one thing. Some team's going to drop out. They're going to be disorganized. They're going to tubby time it. They're going to fail out. They're going to screw up. And you know who's going to be right there to come in, take a seat, and whip someone's ass? Chris Thomas and his guys. Look at that bus. They'll drive 20 hours, and there'll be a nightmare. You do not want to play in the first round. And it makes them dangerous because some team's going to get like a 4 seed. They're not going to be able to redo the brackets. They're going to drop out, and there's Chris Thomas going, we'll play. And you have this nightmare of first game now. So this is good. So I don't think they're going to get in clean. I think it's going to take a little bit of finagling, some last-minute moves. But, I'd be pretty surprised if they don't sneak their way in somehow because they always do. They're like cockroaches. They'll never die.
but off the bracket, though. So what they released on the
as of today, I don't think they make it. I don't think they make it clean. But I think when it's all said and done, when they start awarding, some teams will get their bid on the 20th or whatever the brackets come out. And actually half our team dropped out. And we can't afford this. We're quitting. I mean, again, tubby timing it. And then Chris Thomas will be like, hey, we'll take the bid. And then sure enough, some team gets the prize of playing a team that's won 155 minor league games. The same cohesive bunch of guys who are a nightmare to play in a cash event that they're used to playing at that level. Someone's getting the terrible prize of playing Chris Thomas and these guys. So I think they're not going to get in until literally selection day. And then they're going to be someone's worst damn nightmare. So 15%
Agreed.
in today and 80% by the time it's in.
So it's their reliability is almost a liability at this point. So horrible.
I don't think so.
Horrible.
I think it's basically they're going to be team 65 at the first alternate, and then someone's going to drop. Someone always drops out.
Yeah,
Some team always implodes because of the nature of the event.
Yeah, I think TBT puts them in the final 8 for the fan vote. I think that's where they're going to land and let the fans decide where that lands. So I think they're going to be the final 8.
Yeah, and I think people with a history of it will vote for them because they need to be in this event. They need to be in this event because it's the 10th anniversary. They've been in almost all of them. They've made 2 Super 16s. Like I don't think you can tell TBT's story at year 10 without the Primetime Players. So is it likely as of today? No. Do they end up when it's all said and done? I believe they do. That's just me. Okay, so we got one more case to do, and this is one that's near and dear to both of us. So what kind of school did we both attend?
We went to a D3 school.
We went to a D3 school. So we're going to talk about We Are D3. This will be our last bubble case today. Now, the thing about D3 is, well, they're interesting. So we got to know Reg pretty well. He's a really great guy. And they are always a really good team. And they've been in the lead of every game they've been in so far, pretty much, except for one. And they're always in the lead late, and then it just doesn't quite work out. And we're going to let them explain their own words why they deserve to change that narrative this year. So here is Coach Reniak talking about why We Are D3 deserves to make TBT 2023.
Hi, TBT Selection Committee. This is GM Head Coach Mike Reniak of We Are D3, applying for 5, count them, the 5th year of us participating in the 2023 TBT tournament. Obviously, with us, TBT has provided so many great opportunities for all of our former D3 All-Americans, D3 professionals that are grinding overseas, and just having that platform to compete against the best has been a phenomenal opportunity for us. But now, don't get it mistaken. We want to win, and we've been so close on so many occasions. And trust me, it's like my white whale when it comes to us, and it will happen. And I firmly believe it will happen in this year's TBT. With us this year, it's kind of a blend of a lot of D3 players, but some that played Division I, some that have extensive professional resumes, some that were on other TBT teams in the past. With us being the biggest, quote unquote, alumni base out there with over 400 and some odd schools, we've always drawn well, we've always performed well. And now this year we're coming in for a victory in this year's 2023 TBT. Thank you. And wherever you put us, we'll go wherever you need us. Take care.
As usual, Reg is pretty polished and fun to talk to. He's from his basement in upstate New York in the Hudson Valley, probably trying to escape this terrible air we have right now. It's like basically black lung conditions in New York right now. So Charge, like, they're actually fairly safe. Let's be honest, right? We think they're pretty safe.
Yeah, I think the only knock against them, which I tell Mike every year, is that they have yet to land a Fredonia State player on their roster. So
they've had WashU players before, not this year, but they have before.
They have not done that yet, so still disappointed in them for that. But hey, I get it. Slim pickings up there in Western New York, but yeah, no, there's no case to be made. I would be shocked beyond belief. I think this is 95% in. Obviously, you can never say never with TBT. There's different things that happen, different angles, but I'm as sure about this one as any, especially, like I said, they had their recent move out of Syracuse to Wichita. They, I will suit up. I still got a little life left. I like my chances
like that?
better.
They want a Fredonia player.
They did TBT to soccer, so maybe in disc golf I may be able to get a starting slot out there.
TSCT disc golf.
Yeah.
What would be an appropriate prize for disc golf? $7. The winner gets like $7. Well, you get a gas.
Can't even buy a disc for that, man.
Prize.
You got to go up a little bit. But yeah, no, I'm sure the viewership would be very, very low. But I wouldn't embarrass myself like I would on the basketball court.
You should bring your discs this year. Actually, we should play one.
I brought them
We'll have
last year.
some
We
days
just
and
never
play
got
games.
around to it. Yeah. I mean,
Well,
that's
you
the
left
thing.
after one day because you like have a job and have responsibilities and are an adult.
Hey, yeah. gotta
So
keep it going. I'm getting old. I'm down the home stretch here. Gotta not get fired, for the next few years here.
hey, you should just be self-employed like me. You can't get fired. You can just get yelled
that's
at.
true.
Okay, then the reason we're so loose and just bantering right now is we both think D3 is pretty safe. I would put them at like 85, even 90%. They're not really a bubble team. If they become a bubble team, it's because this is a really strong field. Like there are scenarios in which D3 doesn't make it, but there's not many. I would say of the teams we've profiled, they're probably the safest. And none of these teams are locks, but of the teams we bubble watched, so to speak, this is the closest to a lock, right?
Yeah. From the group that we've kind of highlighted today. And the thing is, with a 16-team Wichita region, I think there's a possibility we can get them out of 8 seed. So that is still going to be an 8 and 8. So it's not a 16. But I think there's a way you can find to get these guys out of the 8 seed and really see what they can do, because they will beat somebody if you get them out of.
So
and the thing is, they can beat Wichita. I guarantee you.
Yeah, sure. Not in Wichita. They'll let Wichita tackle people in Wichita.
Yeah,
I mean, they let people tackle at the end of games. They're not going to beat them in Wichita. So I did talk to Reg about this. I don't think he'll mind me saying this on our podcast with dozens of listeners. Is he just wants a good seed this year. I think he wants, and by good seed, he means just a chance. Like playing Wichita is basically a death sentence. You have all the fans against you. They haven't had a fair shake or a good seed at any time in their really tournament. I mean, the Challenge ALS game was probably the most fair one. They were very competitive in that game, actually. So I think their question is more a question of seed. I think there's two scenarios that should be interesting. If D2 moves there, a D2 on D3 action kind of game might happen right around that 4-5 line, which would be really interesting. The nightmare scenario for them is that they get fed as a 7 seed to a 2 seed, like, say, Heartfire. That would be something they probably don't want to get.
Yeah, because the teams out in Wichita right now are not extremely deep. So Wichita, I think, just keeps somehow they just overperform, and they have that whole that home court crowd going for them. We don't know what to expect from the other Kansas team. Kansas State's getting older, but they keep coming through. But these are teams that I think are beatable by a team like D3 on the right day, the right time. Anyone can beat anybody. And you got Missouri's a new team, but Heartfire is the wild card. Obviously, they're stellar, so you don't want to come across them, and they're gonna avoid them playing Wichita. So I can't imagine those two will be in the same bracket, but we'll see.
I will say Kansas made a nice move real quick and getting Diedrich Lawson too. So that's pretty amazing for them. He's a great player. Okay, so we've done our bubble watch. Let's go ahead and close this down. So those are the teams we talked about. Let's close this up because we have to tape another show in like 2 minutes. So like, what are we thinking here? Like this is the most competitive brackets we've ever seen to get a bid. I don't think I've ever seen this type. True or false? There's going to be some very good teams who deserve to get in who aren't going to get in. True or false?
Oh, that's true every year. So yeah, today will be no different, or this year will be no different. But there's going to be more of those good teams feeling it because like I said, we normally nail it. Pretty much every team gets in that we feel is going to get in, and but this year I think is going to be more so than the past.
And I guess we have a bracketology coming up in a few days, so we'll see what our final thoughts are. The rosters lock, I believe, in like 36 hours of taping.
Yeah, should be the 10th. I don't know. I don't know if they got a time, but so we'll be putting our final in Sunday night. So Hayner has enough time to get the graphics done. So it'll be fun. Hopefully TBT can keep up fast enough without a player ads because you've seen it the past couple of days, just a lot of players, and everyone's got to have 9 by some point on Saturday the 10th, and so hopefully that will make some things clear who's really contending and going to be in this tournament. Some people are going to drop out, but it's going to be probably harder than ever. I mean, you still got teams which not to ramble on, but like Hoops for ALSF really improved their team this year.
Didn't get in.
Really improved.
Didn't get the video in. We invited.
I know. I would have loved to talk to them again.
They were.
Yeah, he was so much fun last year. But you got teams like that are still we haven't even talked about. So it'll be fun. So hopefully Sunday we can add a little more clarity to what it looks like when we go region by region and see what it really looks like.
Clarity is not our thing, Charge. I think try not to fuck it up is more our thing than clarity.
It's about there.
Okay.
Get close.
Or we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so this is our bracket watch and bubble watch, and here's hoping it works out for everybody. We'll be following this next couple of days, next 2 weeks as the brackets come out. And this has been Charge and Hater present Zoom the TBT, and we, as always, are signing off.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hater. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.